You've made your living as a journalist. Do you think of yourself as a journalist? Is that how you would describe yourself?
I was just on the Laura Ingraham show, and she called me a propagandist. I was tempted to call her the female version of Ann Coulter. Originally, when I was getting into my journalism career, and I mean, I've had a lot of privileges. I don't want to talk, pretend I'm Horatio Algiers, but
right.
I was a pizza delivery man, and I was a substitute teacher at schools for severely emotionally disturbed kids, and that's what I did in order to finance myself as a freelance reporter. I think many other people went into journalism school and have a lot of loans to pay back, and have to have these jobs where you're able to pay loans back. But I've had a lot of freedom as a journalist, and I can be open. And what I wanted to do, whatever I did, was to be able to live on my own terms, and that means that I can openly identify as a liberal, but at the same time I have to operate within the parameters of journalistic ethics and be factual. If I'm not factual, I'm not effective, because there are a lot of people who want to discount what I put in print and what's in my videos. So of course I think of myself as a journalist, but I think the practice of journalism is changing. And if I'm successful, it's because I've been able to be at least on the cutting edge of that change.
For so many years, the liberal media sort of played by the traditional rules, and to be a member of the liberal media was to be thought of as, to think of oneself as impartial. Is it about advocacy journalism now? Is that where we're headed? Are the rules being played the same way both on the liberal and the conservative side?
The notion of liberal media was created through a deliberate plan that was implemented in the mid-'70s, when a bunch of corporations got together with conservative operatives like Irving Kristol and Michael Joyce and some other people like that, who were Washington conservative operatives, and the corporation said, we're getting our asses kicked by the media. They're reporting on all, we're dumping toxic waste and they're reporting on it, etc. Basically, there's too much democracy right now. Can you do something? And they said, we're going to set up think tanks in Washington that you guys fund, and the think tanks are going to influence the discussion. We're going to create a group called Accuracy in Media and the Media Research Center, which will create this perception of liberal media by attacking all reporters, criticizing them if they say they voted Democrat. They eventually took down Dan Rather through this campaign. And so there was a deliberate plan to create this perception of liberal media bias in the media. So then there was no liberal counterweight to that. It's unfortunate that this had to happen, but David Brock, who I worked for, he was a conservative journalist. He wrote a book attacking Anita Hill during the Clarence Thomas nomination as a little bit nutty and a little bit slutty, and was the top conservative journalist at the time, but he was also a closet homosexual who saw the homophobia building within the conservative movement. And he finally came out of the movement, denounced everyone who had been his friend, his faux friends, and formed this group, Media Matters for America, because he saw that the key problem was there was no counterweight to this right-wing campaign. And he brought me on in 2005 to do a project monitoring Christian right media. But I don't know if any of you remember Don Imus when he said the Rutgers women's basketball team were nappy-headed hoes. That was because the Media Matters researchers were listening to Don Imus. They were the ones who flagged that and got him, held him accountable for those words. It never would have happened. Or Bill O'Reilly when he said, oh, I went to a restaurant in Harlem and no one said, give me some iced tea, MFer. People were actually polite there. Media Matters caught him on that and he went crazy. He said, I'll vote for Barack Obama if they can deport Media Matters. Whoever can deport Media Matters, I'm going to vote for. And they've had Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly knows he's under scrutiny now. And I caught James Dobson in so many other episodes like this, comparing stem cell research to Nazi science, for example. And so it's been important to do that, but I think at the same time, having to have advocacy groups define how journalism operates is not necessarily a good thing. It's just the way it is.
What do you think of the current Fox News is not news that we're getting from the White House? Is that how it should be done?
I think Fox News might be bad for the Republican Party because they're taking it so far to the right. Glenn Beck is becoming the face of the party. He's a sort of a conspiratorial loon. No, he really
He is a loon.
and he's very conspiratorial, it may make the White House look small to attack a media outlet or Nixonian, but I mean, I think the critique is right. Fox News is definitely like Clockwork Orange propaganda where they hold your eyes open. If you watch it for a few hours, it's like a parallel universe. I don't think Fox is an anti-Semitic network per se. I think the anti-Semitism on Fox has been transmuted into Islamophobia and homophobia. And the same attacks on Jews that we saw when anti-Semitism actually was present in the United States and in Europe are now being lobbed at Muslims, for example, to the point, and some of the other networks, and also undocumented immigrants. And so CNN has to follow the trend. And so you got Lou Dobbs during drive time. But here's what Fox won't talk about. Glenn Beck won't talk about Richard Poplawski, 20-year-old neo-Nazi, who on his website, on stormfront.org, this chat site for neo-Nazis, he was posting videos of Glenn Beck warning about FEMA camps, these concentration camps that he said were possibly going to be built for Americans, as you saw people in my video talking about. Richard Poplawski holed himself up in his mother's house with high-powered assault weapons and mowed down a squad of a Pittsburgh police SWAT team, killing 3 cops, and then killed himself. And his best friend was interviewed after this killing spree, and they said, "Why did he do it?" He said, he believed the Obama, they're agents of the Obama revolution, and he hated Obama. And Bill O'Reilly hasn't answered for calling George Tiller a baby killer and a murderer. George Tiller is the only late-term abortion provider in Kansas, and he was shot by a member of a group that I talk about in my book, Operation Rescue, while praying in church and killed. I'm not saying that it's a direct effect of O'Reilly or Glenn Beck, but when conspiratorial people who are slightly pathological or totally pathological, they're reading stuff online, conspiracy theories on the neo-Nazi chat sites, on Alex Jones, Prison Planet. When they see it on Fox, then they start to believe it's real because Fox says it's fair and balanced and it's taken seriously.